All right, well, let's rag on Jen Psaki a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have this story from The Independent. Psaki says, is how you say, is her name Psaki? Is it Psaki?
Psaki bomb.
Psaki bomb. Says Peter Doocy sounds like a stupid son of B.
Yeah.
Or keep it family friendly. Because of Fox's questions, Biden caught on hot mic in January calling Doocy a stupid SOB over inflation question. And then Psaki just comes out and says it. I just want to point out, I was watching Peter Doocy question Jen at the White House press briefing today, and I was offended at how bad she was at this. Because I've praised her in the past as being a good spin doctor, because, you know, Biden will do something just horrifyingly bad, or he'll just like fall asleep in public or something. I'm kidding, by the way. But and she'll find a way to spin it. And I'm like, yeah, she's good. I mean, she's doing what she does. But today it was just like, wow.
And, you know,
well, let me explain.
Yeah.
She was asked by Peter Doocy, why do you recommend masks when we don't have to? And her response was, I'm not a doctor. Are you a doctor? You're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. And I'm like, Jen, like, wow, this one's really easy. You just say airplanes are smaller with recirculated air.
Yeah.
I was like, you couldn't even just say that to Peter Doocy? I was like, wow.
Yeah.
She was not good at this. There were a couple other things that came out, and she was bad. But the interesting thing here, I suppose, is that she's reportedly going to MSNBC. So here she is. It's during a taping of Pod Save America.
Oh, yeah.
She was asked if Mr. Doocy was a stupid SOB or if he just acted like one on TV. She said he works for a network that provides people with questions that nothing personal to any individual, including Doocy, but might make anyone sound like a stupid SOB. That's really amazing that the only real questions that come out of that briefing, okay, it's not fair, but 90% of the real questions come from Peter Doocy. There was one guy I saw asking some good questions, but I'm sitting there watching this briefing and I'm just like, has there ever been a point in our lifetimes where the White House press briefing revealed any relevant or important information? Or are we all just recognizing it's theater, and whether it be Sean Spicer or Jen Psaki, they're going to say whatever they have to spin. They're not going to tell you the truth. For once, I'd like someone to come out with like a scotch, and it's like, you know, just Donald Trump or Biden, and he's like swirling it, and they're like, what are we doing in Yemen? Making a lot of money. We're selling weapons to the Saudis, you know, and they're blowing up villages, but whew, good for the economy. Next question. Syria? Ooh, oil. Well, we're trying to build a pipeline. What's next? And I'm just like, wow, you know, but they're not going to do that.
I would love to see inside of Kayleigh McEnany's big book that she used to carry with her. I would love to see what's in there.
Okay, I got to take that back. Yes.
She's great.
That was epic.
She's great.
She had the big book. And whenever the press would say something, she'd be like, and she'd like reference, you're full of it. Okay. That was actually substantive.
Yeah.
That maybe wasn't giving us real answers about the administration, but it was exposing to the American people how the media was totally full of it.
Yeah, when we talk about how she is good, I think that's come up in the past, that she's good at her job. I'm like, well, you can be good at your job and be evil if your job is evil. Like Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda, was good. But so instead of using the word good,
no.
say effective.
Say he did it. Don't say he was good. Say he was
effective at his job, which was evil. And so is Jen Psaki sometimes. If she's lying to people, that's evil. You could say she's doing a public good by lying to people because some of the information is too dangerous. Like the CIA is a secretive organization on purpose. But I don't think I don't know. What do you think about it?
If there is any man on the planet who is the easiest to take out of context and make a montage of just horrifying things, Ian.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. You recognize my greatness.
You need your own Jen Psaki.
Yeah,
Thanks, dog.
You, do.
You need to hire
I am my own Jen Psaki.
No, but the issue is, you know, and Ian made a good point just now that Goebbels,
Joseph Goebbels or something.
He
like
was
that.
effective, and it was terrifying. Yeah. But when you say that, when
he was good at his job and he was evil,
no, you said he was good.
Yeah, but I kind of got diverted the conversation.
And I'm like, you got to make sure you finish that
thought. He was effective. So were the Nazis at what they were trying to accomplish, but they weren't good. And so you can look at what Jen's doing. I mean, she's just bad at her job and also doing. I don't know if I want to claim she's doing evil, but I want to have hope for the American government. But sometimes I think like a little transparency goes a long way.
Yo, they're checked out, I think.
They're all evil. I mean, they've been forcing masks on little kids in airplanes, you know, kicking families off because a 2-year-old won't wear their mask, you know. Child suicide rates are through the roof right now. Drug addiction's up through the roof. Everyone who pushes this is evil. I'm totally fine with using that word. They're good at being evil, I guess, or effective at being evil.
I agree, and I want to elaborate on that. When you have a machine that says 2-year-olds must wear masks, and we're like, okay, we get it. But then you get these videos, like even people willing to be like, we want to be peaceful. We don't want confrontation. You get these videos where the baby, they put the mask on the baby and the baby takes it off, like literal baby. And then they're like, off the plane. And I'm like, dude, when you have become this machine that doesn't care about people, you have become evil. And I've talked about it before. I can't stand what has become of the U.S. court system. It's been this way to varying degrees, but it's getting worse in that I get pulled over once. I wasn't speeding. Cop walks up to me with a ticket and he says, sign there. And I was like, I wasn't speeding. He goes, I don't care. Tell it to a judge. And I was like, now I got to take off work to go to a judge. I go to the judge. He goes, I don't care. Cop said you were speeding. Pay the fine or, fight it. And I'm like, okay. We've become extremely rigid because we don't know or care about each other. And this is one of the big challenges. The way we use, when this country is founded, we had 2 million people. You didn't have police. You had local militia. So if somebody stole something, it's like, round up the boys. We're gonna go catch that guy who stole something. And then you'd have to go to the courts, and the courts were part of the community. Everybody knew each other, and they'd all talk it out. And it's like, that guy who stole it, that's John's son. And it's like, oh man, John, what do you got to say for your kid? And then they talk about it. Now it's like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't even know his name is. Now there's so many people and it's so dense. We've just become rigid and mechanized almost.
I see ups and downs to both, because if you know the judge and then you commit a crime and the judge is like, I know him, just let him off. That's also bad. But if the judge has no idea who you are and they don't take your humanity into account at all, then that's also kind of bad.
I agree, but I think of it like this still exists in small town America where if you live in a small town and you're speeding, let's say a 16, 17-year-old kid is speeding and the deputy pulls him over, he already knows who it is. So he's not worried about getting shot or anything. And he walks up and he's like, Jimmy, why you speeding? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Dan. And he's like, I'm going to see your dad at the bar later today and I'm going to tell him you were speeding. And he's like, please don't. And he's like, I'm let you off with a warning, but I'm telling your dad. Like, that's way more effective social repercussions as opposed to like pay the $35 or pay the $50. For a lot of people, that $50 is devastating, but they're like, I don't care. So what? I'll not pay the ticket or I'll fight it or whatever. Having that personal connection, I think, is good because it holds people to account because they're scared of people they know and love getting mad at them.
I think you're right about that. And there's also just that there's too darn many laws.
Yeah.
So we've got so many people going through the system all the time. It almost has to be mechanical and expedited. You really can't add the human element in if let's say you're a judge and you've got a judge on 50 cases in a day or whatever. How serious can you take the individual in each of those? I mean, there's only so many minutes in a day. Right?
Yeah, they're especially not even just judges, but prosecutors. They're only going to see you as a number or as a way to advance their career, and it's almost not even like I'd like to say it's on them, but a career-oriented person who goes into a field like that, they're going to be predisposed to looking at people that way, and that's just how they've chosen to get ahead with their career. They just happen to take a career that puts other people's lives in the balance each and every day.
Yeah, then you have to ask yourself why they chose that job, and that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. I pulled up just like weird laws. One of them is like bingo games can't last more than 5 hours in North Carolina.
What?
You can't sniff glue with the intent to get high from it in Indiana.
What?
Can't
But
have,
you can sniff it.
This is America.
can't have sex with living fish in Minnesota.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I might actually support that
Oh
one.
my God,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's not a weird law. That's a good one.
That's why the word living is the weird word, though, right?
It's there was like a song where they referenced that, and I was like, that can't be real, can it? And then I don't know if they've since repealed that just to say any fish, perhaps. But
my
yes,
gosh.
that was a
What
thing.
the heck?
This is a great metaphor talking about the machine. We were talking last night about how machines are very dangerous and we've kind of become enslaved to them. They're very intelligent and we can build their intelligence, but they have no emotion. Humans have emotion. That's why we enslave the machine to work for us and to outsource our intelligence. At what level does a society become a machine? Like a small town, it's all about emotion. Who you know, your kids, their kids. Then all of a sudden at some point it's like, just fill out the paperwork. You don't even have to look at the guy's face. Like what, 60,000 people? 1,600 people?
Yeah. You remember that movie Office? What was it? Office Space?
Yeah.
And they take
Yeah.
the printer out and beat the tar out of it or whatever. You are the printer.
Oh, that's the technocratic dream.
Yeah, I just think that fundamentally that movie is about being caught up in a mindless, numbing job that's functioning a lot like a bureaucracy, and every level of justice system is a mindless, numbing bureaucracy. So when you go in there, you're the printer, man.
And printers are still worthy of that. Like we have a printer here that's just, they're all awful. Like it's the only technology that hasn't expanded at all. Every printer is still a hassle to use all the time.
Did you guys ever have that black printer ink explode on you when you're trying to change it? It's crazy.
It's like there's like a rule against making them better. They're like, it has to be a hassle, and it's just nobody wants to create a better printer.
I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe lasers. Maybe we can just have lasers do a back image on a paper or something. It's probably already created.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.